What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video I am bringing you guys one of my first of this type of video. I've seen it originate, I believe, on Andrea Montilio's website, her channel, so I will link it down below. But basically this is just going to be a review roundup of about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eyeshadow palettes that I have gotten recently that I've been asked to either do reviews or I just really wanted to do reviews. So yeah, I hope you guys are interested, and if you are, let's just keep on watching. All right, so as you can see, I got a nice big basket. I purchased this from Ross, and it was only $3.99, so I was really happy to get this. But anyways, this is going to be holding all of the palettes that I'm going to be reviewing. Let me just reorganize my little table here and let's get started. So I'm going to try and kind of really keep it the way that Andrea Montilio, I don't know how to say her name, but I'm going to try and do it how she does it, where I'm going to have half of my screen pop out and really give you guys all of the detailed information that I'm saying. Hopefully it'll work. I don't know. Right now I can't even get into my editing software, so you guys might not see it this week, which I wanted you guys to, but anywho, let's get into it. So the first thing I want to review is a palette that I haven't seen many people talk about on YouTube or in general, and I just wanted to talk about it. It is the Tammy X Revolution palette. Now, it does come in with a sheet of paper with the names on it. And these are the shadows right here. I do follow Tammy, so that is honestly mainly the reason why I picked up this palette. As you can see, this palette is definitely neutral and not exactly my cup of tea, but I still did want to pick it up to support her. And of course, she is a woman of color, so I had to support as well. I did watch her launch video, and I will link that down below in case you were interested in seeing it. Basically, she wanted these 3 shadows to be transition colors for everybody. So she has a light one for lighter skin tones, a more medium brown for medium skin tones, and then a slightly darker one for darker skin tones. Then she wanted this top row, or I guess bottom, the way I'm holding it, to be more for day looks. So she thought that these were lighter colors that could really work for day looks, like daytime, if you work in an office, stuff like that. And then she wanted this bottom row to be for night looks, so you could just jump from, you know, let's say you reach for this every day, you could just add a couple of darker shades in your outer crease, in your outer V and your crease, to deepen up to look, so it could be a nighttime look. So that was her main synopsis that she says in her video. Oh, and she also said it was Caribbean themed because she is from, I want to say Barbados, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. But yeah, her family is from a Caribbean island, even though she's from the UK. So she wanted to kind of bring in all of her roots and all that jazz. It's a really nice packaging. It's rose gold, and I really do like it, although it is reflective and it will hold fingerprints. So if you're not into that, you will not be into that. On the back, you get it says the eyeshadow palette. It gives you the form, the ingredients. It gives you the amount of product. You get 20 eyeshadows with 0.069 ounces or 0.95 grams. And then you get the 3, which are the transition colors, which are 0.039 ounces and 1.1 grams. This is cruelty free and it has a 12-month shelf life. It also talks about where it was made, which is in the UK. So this palette is nice. It's not great. It's not excellent. It's really nice for the price. I only ended up paying $15 for this, and I did purchase it off of the Makeup Revolution website, which I will link down below. Currently, that's the only place that you can get this palette. I have been asking on Instagram multiple times for them to send this to Ulta, and they said that they're working on a release date. So this, along with the Carmi palette, along with Soph Does Nails' second release, all of those I believe will be coming to Ulta, so do just keep an eye out if you want to wait till it comes to Ulta. If not, you can purchase it from the Makeup Revolution website, and That website is really good. I have purchased from them now twice and I've gotten no problems. All of my items come, none of them come cracked. It's all beautiful. So that's that. This is like a hard plastic. It's definitely not a glass or anything like that. It is a hard plastic, so it would be decent to travel with. Don't mind me, I'm looking at notes. Finally got notes. So I think personally my favorite formula in this palette are the mattes. I love the mattes. They're nice and beautiful, blendable, pigmented, all that jazz. I think the shimmers are just that. They're shimmers. They're not metallics, which I definitely do prefer on my everyday looks, but they're nice. But I will say I checked, and on the back, this is a different formula than the Soph Does Nails First palette, and this is her palette. I don't believe I've reviewed it on this channel. I think I did a blog post. If I did, I will link it down below. But this is the Soph Does Nails eyeshadow palette. She has the little built-in sheet, and this is her palette. Okay, and this palette comes with 24 shadows that are 0.038 ounces and 1.1 grams. And if you look at the back, the ingredients are different. I will try and do some close-up shots so you guys can see that. But yeah, they're definitely different. So that is interesting. And you can tell on the back that they switched their retailer, because originally this one, it was Tam Beauty, and this one, it is just Makeup Revolution. So they've been switching around the name. They went from Makeup Revolution to Revolution, and I think they're now back to Makeup Revolution. Child, I can't keep up. I will say that I actually prefer the formula in the Soph Does Nails First palette. I think this is a lot more pigmented. Even the metallics are better. I will just take 2 metallics from the Soph Does Nails. Oh wait, that second one was a terrible swatch. Hold on. Okay. And I'm gonna take 2 from the Tammy palette. And in the close-ups, you will see I definitely dug into Tammy's palette. So these 2 are from Soph Does Nails. These 2 are from Tammy. Let's just swatch. All right, so as you can see, Soph Does Nails is on top and Tammy's on the bottom. They don't look on the hand different, but in my opinion, they apply on the eyes different. Or maybe it's honestly just that the color scheme in this palette is just more my style. I don't know, but either way, I do prefer this palette over the Tammy palette, which I'm kind of slightly, you know, I'm slightly disappointed in. Like I said, the ingredients are different, so that may also play a role into why I like one better than the other. I will say both of them have excellent mirrors. I mean, it's insane how good these mirrors are. I care about mirrors just because I do a lot of my makeup right back here, and I don't always want to use my separate mirror. I do like to just go into the palette and just boo 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 and keep it moving. So I think that's all I wanted to say. I will have price per gram popping on up on the side, and hopefully I will have some swatches going on throughout this period where I've been talking about this palette, just showing you guys all of the swatches for the Tammy X palette. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that palette. All right, next is a palette that I was extremely excited, and I had some cons and pros on purchasing this, but I ended up doing it. It is the Xuri palette. So this is the palette that has African theme all throughout. You can see the background of the actual cover. You can see the ingredients listing on the back, and this is just the sleeve. Then you get to the actual palette, same cover, same background. You can see that it is cruelty free. It has a 12-month shelf life. It lists the ingredients and stuff like that. I am not an ingredients person, so I am not going to sit here and try and advise you on that. It's just not my thing. I will say that this palette does have mica. Let me just check. I know that's like one of those things, mica and talc. So both of these palettes have mica and talc, and same with this palette. So if that is something, I believe people are actually like allergic to it. So if you're allergic, I would not advise getting either of these first two palettes that I have talked about. It does come with a very nice mirror on the side. It comes with a sleeve that's blank just to keep the palette nice and clean. And then I will say it does not bend back perfectly, so that is kind of a meh for me, but this is the palette. It is nice and beautiful. I ordered this one on June 18th. It shipped on the 20th and I received it on the 26th, and this is a UK based brand, so this is excellent service when it comes to that. I know I purchased this on sale. I did not pay full price. I can't remember what the sale was. I want to say it was about 30% off, and that's why I ended up purchasing it. And I believe I also had free shipping as well. So that was honestly the thing that made me purchase it. The thing that was holding me back from purchasing this palette is that it's actually made in China. Now, I don't want to get too deep into it. I am not a cruelty-free person. It's just not. I'm not. But I did not like the fact that China was creating it. But I still want to talk about this palette, and I still did purchase it. So let's get into it. The pigmentation on these shadows are insane. I would definitely say that these are up on the par as Juvia's Place and Colored Rain pigmentation. It's a really nice pigmentation in the eyeshadows. I also find them blendable. I really do. I will say that for me, this yellow up here, Sunrise, I really wanted it to, personally, to be a brighter yellow. I really love a bright yellow, although I can understand why it's more of a muted orange undertoned yellow, because it kind of fits more into this color scheme. So I get that, but at the same time, I would have really loved it to have been bright yellow. I do want to apologize. It's kind of overcast outside, so it might be dark. I will try and bring some light into my editing, but you know, I'm not an editing genius, so this might be a dark video. Hey guys, so I have my first clip that you guys saw me record. That was like a week ago. I've been extremely busy. The day I recorded, things happened. Anyways, I just wanted to get right back into it. I believe I stopped off talking about the Xuri palette, and I had already talked about the Tammy X palette and a little bit about the Soph Does Nails palette as well, just because I wanted to compare them. So back to the Xuri palette. Hopefully I don't repeat myself too much. Like I said before, these are pigmented, blendable, beautiful shadows. I really do like the really small pops of color. Although this is a neutral palette with a pop of blue and yellow, I really was interested in it, and the formulation is beautiful. The shimmers are definitely metallic in my opinion, and the mattes are really good. You only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 mattes, yeah, you get 6 mattes and 6 shimmers, so I really like that it's perfectly even on that standpoint. I would say that these are about the size of a Juvia's Place shadow. And yeah, I mean, like I said, when I was talking about this in my must-haves or must-gags, basically the only reason I didn't want this was because of the whole where it was made aspect, but I have kind of turned a leaf when it comes to that type of stuff. Just looking at my notes to see if there's anything else. I do prefer the shimmers when I spray them, just to let you guys know. And I did make a note that one of the shadows was slightly hard to blend, and it was this one, Reina. So that's the one matte that I feel like is slightly hard to blend just compared to the other mattes in this formula. I did make a note about the lightness of the palette. It's a very light palette, so it shows that it's not extremely the money that you pay to get this palette is definitely, in my opinion, not put towards the packaging, which is not bad at all. That's actually a good thing in my opinion. It's definitely put towards the actual formulation of the shadows. And Empire, to me, this looks like a really neutral shimmer, but it's not. It's like more of a purpley pink. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's more of a purpley pink shimmer. So it really goes well with this more purple toned palette than I thought it would. Originally when I got this palette, I thought that I would use Empire with, you know, Shea and Skin to just keep a more neutral eyeshadow look. But this is definitely more of a purple shimmer, so you can definitely use it with more of these purples. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I will of course have the price per gram and all the other information popping up on the screen so you guys can know. Next, somebody asked me to review the Pat McGrath Subversive palette that I have. This is my only Big Daddy Pat palette, and I got this last school year, maybe at the end. It was a treat to me because I got through a whole year of grad school. And of course, like I said, I will have the price per gram and all that scrolling across. On the packaging, just like everybody says, you have the information about the palette right here. You know what version it is. Since I only have one Big Daddy palette, it's not hard for me to remember, of course. And of course the outline lining is different. Then on the back you have the ingredients. You also see that this has an 18-month shelf life. I believe she is also cruelty free, but it doesn't say it on the palette, so maybe she's not. But no, I know a lot of cruelty free YouTubers that used her, so she is cruelty free. Of course I will have the net weight and the price per gram. It is 0.05 ounces for each shadow, regardless of the formulation. So that is good. It is, like everybody says, a very luxury packaging. It is nice and heavy and weighted, which is very nice. You have her logo on the front as well as some information on the back that is kind of hard to show on camera, so I won't. It's a really nice and interesting mirror. I have not taken off the cover. I don't want to get that mirror ruined. And then you have the eyeshadows. You have two mattes, which is this brown and this black, and then everything else is a shimmer, a glitter, or a metallic. These two on the end are more of a glittery finish. Not bad, just a different formulation. And then depending on the shadow in here, some of them are more metallic, some of them are more shimmery. I would say this green is definitely more metallic, and you will see in the swatches. And yeah, I think this is a good palette. This is definitely not one of those palettes. It's like an everyday palette. Even for me, it's just not one of those things. I definitely purchased this to use on very special occasions. I actually might take this. I have a wedding coming up. I might take this for the wedding, just because it's special, and it would be nice to have memories going along with this palette in that instance. I did purchase this from her website, and it got here a lot faster than I thought it would. I want to say it was within the week that I purchased it. I honestly did not write down the information, so I can't give you guys that. I will say also that this is the worst price. This is not as good of a price per gram as her smaller palette is, which I did think to bring that ahead. This one, you get 6 shadows with 0.42 ounces for only $55, whereas her bigger one, you get what, 10 shadows for 0.053 ounces for $125 retail. Now, like I said, I did not purchase this retail. This was definitely something I got on sale, and I will link the video up where I used this Big Daddy palette and the smaller palette for a tutorial. But yeah, I definitely think these mattes are nice and blendable. The metallics are beautiful. The shimmers are nice as well. And the toppers are very unique and special. I'm really glad that I got this palette. Like I said, it's not a palette that I would say everybody needs to have, because everybody doesn't need to have a Pat McGrath palette. I mean, honestly, the only other palette I wanted from her was the fourth one, but it's now no longer being sold, so that's fine. I don't feel the need to get any of her I don't feel the need to get any more of her other palettes. Oh, the only other thing I did want to say is I feel as though this formulation is different than this formulation, specifically in the mattes. Now let me open up. These mattes, in my opinion, even the shimmers are not as beautiful as this one. I don't know. I believe they were made in two different factories, but to me, this formulation is a lot more scratchy to the touch and just isn't overall as luxury feeling as her Big Daddy palette that I have. That is a personal opinion. I don't believe anybody else has stated that in their reviews or just in passing. But yeah, everybody's different. To me, her smaller palette is not formula wise as good as this one. And honestly, it might just be as simple as the pressing. The formulas might be dead on, but the formula, I mean, the amount of pressure that they put to actually put the shadows in this palette might be different because of the packaging. So I'm thirsty now. I've talked a lot. I think that one is good to go. Next, I kind of briefly want to just talk about this one. This is the Kat Von D 10th anniversary palette. Now, this one I believe is still in Sephora and on her website. So I just kind of want to talk about it in case you are not, against Kat Von D and you're interested in this palette. This has excellent packaging. It's an decent weight on it. It has her same formula as some people have grown to love, but the color arrangement, you know, it's definitely not the most unique. It is definitely a warm with a pop of blue green, and I knew that going in. I knew that. So I can honestly tell you I do not reach for this palette. It's not dynamic. The shimmers are not metallic, and that is typical Kat Von D. In my opinion, only metallic formula she has is her metallic foils, the ones that come in the little circles. The shimmers that she puts in her palettes generally are just that, they're shimmers. So I expect that they're not going to be the beautiful metallic blendableness that I grow to love, but you know, I expected a little bit more, I'm not gonna lie. The mirror is beautiful, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I have to say. It's a decent palette if you are a Kat Von D collector, which I have grown to be. We'll see if I continue on. This is a nice collectible, but other than that, I do not think this is a must-have. I do not think this is a die-hard. I don't think people need to be like, oh, I wish I had this palette just like the Mita Vida Loca palette or anything like that. This is just an okay palette in my opinion. And it is, oh, I'm sorry, it is $52, and it is, you get 0.96 ounces in each pan. Okay, next we have the Keone, I believe, Archaeo palette. This is a palette that has been heavily like anticipated because so many people, including me, loved the Paleo palette. Now I did end up purchasing the Paleo palette after it went like, it was like a limited edition and then it went away. I actually directly contacted them and asked them if they had any more in stock. They did. I sent them the money and I got it. I really do love this palette. It's a beautiful palette, beautiful colors. The only problem I have with this palette, not enough mattes. You only had 2 mattes and they were both neutral. I kind of wanted some more, at least one other cool tone matte to go with the cool tone shimmers. That was my only thing about this palette, and this palette is now back in stock. I do believe it is now just a part of their regular brand, or regular, you know, it's not limited edition anymore. As for the Archaeo palette, this is their second palette that they've released, and I did kind of have some things to talk about. Now this might be a different formula, I don't know, but this shadow actually came cracked. I didn't want to get rid of the shadow that already broke up, so I ended up repressing it, which is why I have some discoloration on the actual palette, because these are handmade. If you did not know, the actual palettes and I believe the shadows are all handmade. It's a whole handmade brand. So yeah, I am still able to get pigmentation from the shadow, so I don't feel the need to contact them like, can I get another palette? No, I don't feel the need. They're an indie brand. I know how much work they put into these palettes. No need to ask them for another one. I am kind of slightly disappointed that the names are not on the palette. You know, we were able to get that in the Paleo palette, and I thought that's what made the more homemade feel even more home feel, because it was literally their handwriting. I don't know if it's because they just wanted to make sure they can get as much stock out as quickly as, and that's perfectly fine. I understand that, but I still would have loved to have their name, the names written on there by the owners and makers of this brand. The packaging is plastic, just like the Paleo palette, and the shimmers are shimmers. Just that, I believe that they're better, in my opinion, when you press or when you foil them with an actual spray. So that is what I tend to do when I reach for them. These shadows are fragile, as you can see by that shadow, so I would not personally recommend actually traveling with these palettes. I would recommend definitely staying at home, using them at home, or if you travel with them, definitely packaging them quite nicely to make sure that they do not break even more, or for me break it even more, for you maybe just break period. My favorite shadows in this palette, let me get the little, my favorite shadows are this one right here and Nomad. Nomad is a really nice, I was not expecting it to be a really nice, like in my opinion, in the spirit of J Kissa, it's like a mac and cheese color, mac and cheese yellow in my opinion. And then Glyph is just a really beautiful purple. That would actually be an interesting look. I should really try and just use those colors and see how that works out, because that might actually be a really pretty look. But yeah, those are my favorite colors in these palettes. I believe that these shimmers are pressed a little more firmly, or maybe a different formula than these shimmers. I prefer to like these shimmers a little bit more, and even I have some single shadows from Keone and I prefer those shimmers more. So I think there is a slightly different formulation when it comes to these shimmers. And for this palette, I prefer to do just more of a simple 2 to 3 color look. I think once you go a little bit too many colors, it starts to muddy up, whereas I don't really have the chance to do that because you only got 2 mattes here. So you have one transition color and one deepening up color, and then you put whatever you want on your lid, you know? So for this palette, I definitely learned that I prefer only 2 mattes and, you know, however many shimmers I want to do with that. It is the same size if anybody was interested. Whoop, whoop. Oh Lord. Okay. It is the same size as the Paleo palette and the same thickness as well. Both palettes come with 2 grams and you get, and it's they're both $70 Canadian, not including shipping. That is something that I will talk about in just a second. And that is $53.20 American. And you get 0.37 grams per price per gram. That is the price per gram for both of them. So they're both equivalent, which is very nice. Let's talk about the shipping. Hey guys, so the shipping is $15 for no tracking number and $20 for a tracking number. From what I can tell, it does not matter where you live, regardless if you still live in Canada. It is still going to be $20 for a tracking number and $15 for not having one. Price, or with a number. For my Paleo, I went full glam. I wanted the amount, I want the palette, and then I also wanted to know the tracking number. That's what I could not think of. So I purchased both the palette and the tracking number. So I actually ended up paying, what, $82 in Canadian, which is, I don't know how much in American. But for the Archaeo palette, I just purchased the palette and the normal shipping. I did not go full glam for the $12 shipping, because at $12, I mean, I know other people who are not in the US. Oh my gosh. I know other people that are not in the US don't have to deal with such beautiful shipping as we do. They always have to pay crazy shipping, but you know, I'm spoiled, and $12 for shipping, child? No, I can't. I can't. So that is that. Okay, I believe I only have one more palette left. Oh, last thing I wanted to say about the Paleo palette, or the Archaeo palette, I love that they put these looks in from Angelica. I love it. I think she deserves the recognition and the credit that she's getting. It's honestly, it's so nice to see, because I've been a follower of her for a while. I want to say a year and a half, 2 now. So it's really nice to see that her credit and her work that she's been putting in is really just coming full circle. And I actually think I might be using some of these to see how I like these looks on me. And yeah, I will be keeping that, just because to me it's like a part of the palette. The last palette that I wanted to talk about, hopefully I haven't talked about it. If I did, we'll edit it out. I don't know. Okay, anyways, is the Dragon Child palette from Makeup Monster Cosmetics. Now, the packaging is slightly different. On this one, it's definitely a lot more glossy, and you can see the information a lot easier. On the back, of course, you have all the ingredients and where it was manufactured. I feel like I've talked about this. I'm having a deja vu moment, but I'm gonna keep going just in case. On this packaging, it's a lot less glossy. It's kind of more holographic, if you will. And yeah, here is the inside of the packaging. It's beautiful packaging. Everybody's been talking about that, but I'm more interested in the shadows. I will say this is a heavy palette. I was not expecting it to be such heaviness, and honestly I was kind of expecting it to be bigger, but I like the size. It's nice and small. It's kind of palm worthy palette. Anyways, let's keep it open. You have 3, 6, 9, 10 mattes and 2 shimmers. The 2 shimmers are clearly the ones that look like shimmers, and then you get all of these other mattes. Let me tell y'all, out of all of these palettes, I will say that this is definitely my favorite. I'm not gonna lie, and I get so many looks that I love. I have not hated or disliked one look that I made using this palette, and that is very rare for me. There are always a palette or a look that I do that I'm just like, child, what is this? And I wipe it off. But this palette, I have loved every last look that I have used with this palette. These are magnetic pans, so you can lift it up. I know Makeup Struggles actually did that, and she rearranged it so it's a little bit more monochromatic. I like this arrangement. I know where the greens are, I know where the blues are, the purples are, and my 2 warm tone outer V. I love this arrangement. Let me go over here. You do need to keep the sleeve if you're interested in the ingredients, just to let you guys know. It is vegan and cruelty free. The shimmers are beautiful, but in my opinion, let me open up the palette again. Sorry, I'm multitasking. In my opinion, the shimmers don't exactly fit. I think that might be an oddball opinion. This gold is definitely very warm toned, and it works obviously with the 2 reds, but I mean, that's it in my opinion. And then this light pinky color, it is icy, so I get that they thought it would work with the rest of the palette, because the rest of the palette is cool toned, but it's super icy. And I mean, I don't know. I think this shimmer definitely fits more, but this goldy one, I'm not convinced that it really fits. Don't get me wrong, I've used it, but it's definitely been one of those things I've had to tweak and pull to get it to really work with this palette. The pigmentation is insane. There's nobody in my opinion that can say that this pigmentation is not here. I definitely think it's up there with Juvia's Place and Colored Raid when it comes to pigmentation. It definitely is blendable. It's beautiful. As you can see, the shimmers definitely have beautiful reflect. I definitely think they have some some glitter in it. Definitely this bottom one more so than the gold one, but they definitely do have some glitter in them. And yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to really talk about. I will say that I purchased some other products with this palette, just because this is the only palette that I did that with. And I got a highlighter. Y'all, if y'all have been into any of their highlighters, purchase the highlighter. The highlighter is beautiful. And then, as you can, well, you can't see because I have stuff in the way, I also have some of their liquid lipsticks. I love their liquid lipsticks. I will probably, not to do on a tangent, but I will probably be doing a full face of Makeup Monsters and I will probably be doing a full face of Makeup Monsters just to display what I like about them. But yeah, there's a lot of good things. A lot of good things from this brand, and I'm really liking this formulation. I can't wait to see what their next palette is. And yeah, those are all the palettes that I want to talk about. I do have a couple other things that I kind of just want to talk about, but I will throw those into another video. So as always, y'all, it's been real. Peace.